I'm Amy Porterfield, ex-corporate girl turned CEO of a multi-seven-figure business. But it wasn't all that long ago that I lacked the confidence, the budget, and the time to focus on growing my small but mighty business. Fast forward past many failed attempts and lessons learned, and you'll see the business I have today. One that changes lives and gives me more freedom than I ever thought possible. One that used to only exist as a daydream. I created the Online Marketing Made Easy podcast to give you simple, actionable, step-by-step strategies to help you do the same. If you're an ambitious entrepreneur or one in the making who's looking to create a business that makes an impact and a life you love, you're in the right place, friend. Let's get started. Well, hey there. Welcome back to Online Marketing Made Easy. I am currently at my lake house. This is a bonus episode. I wasn't planning on doing it, but I couldn't help myself because we need to talk about the brand new social app, Threads. But before we get there, I'm at the lake because in the summer, Hobie and I try to come here as much as possible. Our house is about an hour and a half outside of Nashville, and it's such a special place. And typically, I do not bring my computer, which Hobie loves, and I unplug and I just stay really present on the lake most weekends in the summer. However, today is Tuesday and I'm at the lake because I brought my leadership team out here because I thought it might be fun to plan for the next quarter, but also have some lake time, have some fun time together. So there are 7 of them. They arrived on Sunday. We did a barbecue. We played games at the lake house. We just had tons of fun on Sunday. Monday, we worked all day. Quarter 3 is a big quarter for us because we launch Digital Course Academy every September. So we're planning for some brand new things for the DCA launch. We're adding some AI prompts into the Digital Course Academy program to help you get your course done faster. We're working on a lot of new things for Digital Course Academy 2023. And so that was a big discussion yesterday. And then we worked on some issues we're having, some challenges we need to overcome, all that good stuff. And then today, we're going to spend the morning working on a new vision for the company. We like to update that every year or so. So we're going to workshop some new ideas about what we're about, how we add value, how we serve, that kind of thing. And then we're going to spend the rest of the day on the lake. We're going to inner tube, we're going to float, we're going to maybe have a few cocktails and relax and just have a really fun time together because I think this leadership team has so much responsibility for leading the business forward that I want to make sure they have some fun and some downtime and also just time to connect with each other and with me. So we're doing a lot of connection today and I'm looking forward to it. But before I get my day started with my leadership team, I wanted to do a podcast on Threads. Threads came out last week. This episode's being recorded on Tuesday. We're going to get it out tomorrow, which is Wednesday, for a bonus episode. And I wanted to talk about my initial feelings around Threads and where I think it might be going. And also, I'm not a social media expert. As you know, I teach people how to grow email lists and how to create digital courses and how to make more money in their businesses. And we use social media to do all of that, but I am not an expert. I don't have a pulse on what's working and what's not working, but I have some really, really good friends who do. And one of my dear friends is Jasmine Starr. And I feel as though I have the perspective of a new user on Threads, where she has a perspective of an expert in social media who sees things that maybe I don't. But let's just be honest from the get-go. We are not pretending we are experts on Threads. Like, no one is an expert, right? And this is not an episode where I'm going to give you 10 marketing tips to crush it on Threads. At least not yet. I could see those episodes coming in a few months, maybe. If you want some marketing tips that I see working and I've done my research and you want me to share, I absolutely will. But I think anyone sharing a lot of marketing tips about Threads right now, it's like, a little too early. But we are going to talk about what we're seeing, what people think about it, where we think it might be going, maybe some of the not so great things that might be coming in the future when it becomes more mainstream. We're just going to talk about all of it. So if you want to sit down, have a cup of coffee with Jasmine and I and kind of listen in on what we're thinking about threads and what we're sharing with each other. That's kind of what this conversation is all about. I hope you enjoy it. Before I bring on my very special guest, I want to let you know that I have been paying attention to some really interesting accounts on threads. I like what they're doing. Two of them are actually big businesses that are almost acting as small, nimble, fun businesses that they just feel different on threads. So I put together a list of 5 threads accounts I'm following and that I'm enjoying. And they're in just a quick little cheat sheet. So amyporterfield.com/threads. Go there. You can grab it just if you want a little extra inspiration as you start your threads journey. All right, I won't make you wait any longer. Let's bring on my girl, Jasmine Star. Well, hey there, Jasmine Star. I'm so excited to have a threads expert on my podcast.
Okay, we need to slow your roll. People are immediately going to stop listening. They're like, Threads expert? It's been around like all of 20 seconds. Who is an expert now? Okay, I hope people know that your voice is dripping with sarcasm.
Yes,
We, my
very much
friends,
joking.
okay, good, good.
Okay, so tell everyone, Jasmine, why we decided to come here together about threads when it's only been out for about a week at the time of this recording. But Jasmine, this is getting out like tomorrow. So we're doing this quickly.
I mean, see, and this is what I love quick action taking. This is a thing that you are so well known for, and I am such an advocate for. And so, what we really want to do, and Amy and I, we were talking about this word, we want to be documentarians. Far be it from us with this brand new app to come out and say, no, this is how you use it with a strategy. In fact, like the nomenclature and the desire so far from people on threads are like, no, no, let's just be with this app. So, we right now, we thought, let's go in and let's document early how people are using it. Are they using it for business? Are they using it for conversation? And so this is why we decided to come together and have a conversation, two friends, two marketers, two CEOs, and seeing what is the landscape early on, and then how can people leverage it from there.
Exactly. And so when you use that word documentarian, I was like, yes, because I feel as though we all get a front row seat to something brand new, but we all are not brand new. I saw this one thread where someone was saying, what's so cool about this is I can be an early adopter. I could jump on and I kind of know the lay of the land because I know Instagram, I know Twitter, and I don't feel so clumsy, but I can start to pretend or not pretend, I could start to think how I want to use this and what does it look like and be on the front of it. And I think that's cool because Jasmine, you're more of an early adopter than I am. Like I tend to sit back, see how it's going to go, how people are using it, and then decide how I jump in, which is definitely not the best, but that's just my personality where you'll jump in right away. Would you agree?
100%.
Yeah.
A
So
hundred percent.
that's us. But we both jumped in right away. You got in on day 1, I got in on day 2, and I think a lot of people for the first time jumped in right away. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would agree. And I think that this goes back to, I mean, I'm going to geek out before we get into some of the other things, is like the reason why Threads has gotten so much traffic early on is that for the first time ever, like in human history, we are watching the way that one social platform has leveraged an entire current social platform to embed a current follower audience. I
Yes.
don't know if Threads would have had as much excitement, as much momentum had it not been integrated with Instagram. Imagine saying, let's do a podcast about Threads, but everybody has to start from zero. Well, that's not a bad thing. And I love starting from zero. It is a great opportunity. The same opportunities exist when you start from zero as if you were to start with 900 followers. However, the psychology behind it is really fascinating. So we're watching a human experience and experiment on a new social platform, and we've never seen it before. So I think it's interesting. I actually also think that like YouTube is primed to launch a different social platform that leverages YouTube followers in the same way. We're going to see this happen a lot more, but we're actually seeing this right now happen in real time. And I think it's fascinating.
It is fascinating. And I want to back up because let's be honest about how we felt when Threads first came out. So I was on vacation at the time and I started seeing it pop up on social when I was sneaking a look when Hobie wasn't looking at me. You know how that goes for me. And so I was kind of sneaking on social and I saw all the hype on Threads. So I thought, well, I got to jump on this and see what it's about. But in full honesty, and I hate to admit this because there's so much excitement on threads, and I'll say right now, I really like the platform and I think it's refreshing and fun and different. So I'm fully embracing it. But my first thought was, oh, not another social platform that not only do I need to learn, but now I need to post on and create new content for and figure out, how it's going to work in my business. And it felt overwhelming. And I am not the biggest lover of social media of all things. So I felt a little bit like, oh, I just don't want this.
Well,
I
you're
hate
I think
admitting that.
no, you shouldn't hate admitting it. I think that's why people, like, adore you is because you are stating the actual truth, and I had a moment of that too. I was like, "Oh, no. Oh, no, no, no." It's like one more thing, but we're not alone. We are absolutely not alone, and I think it's a great place to start the conversation, that it is not a suggestion. This is not, "If you don't get on, there's no way your business is going to succeed." Not at all. In fact, it's the counter opposite. This is gonna be a perfect episode for somebody who's like, I fell off the wagon of social media. I feel frustrated with social media. I don't actually know what I'm doing on social media. We're like, great, great. This is going to be perfect for you. And this is also perfect for the person who's saying, I have a really great system and I like what I'm doing, but I'm ready to shake things up.
Yes, so true. Okay, so I wanna talk about we're going to give some shout outs to people who responded to us on Threads when we said, "We're doing a podcast about this. What are you seeing? What are you loving? How are you using it so far?" And a lot of people jumped in. So we're gonna give some shout outs and kinda share what other people are feeling in this first week of Threads. Before we get there, I wanted to bring something up, Jasmine, because I loved your perspective on this when I told you. So our friend Jenna Kutcher posted on Threads. She's such fun things on Threads. She's doing a great job. And she posted like, "Hey, do you guys want to talk about some marketing ideas that you could use on Threads?" She was just kind of getting a vibe. How do you guys feel about that? And so many people are like, "No, we don't want to go in the marketing direction yet. We don't want any Threads gurus." That's why I was joking about Jasmine being a thread expert, 'cause obviously, like, I am not. But they were like, "No marketing, no marketing." Even marketing people were saying that. So, Jasmine, talk to me about that sentiment. Is it going to last? Why is it coming up? Why don't people want to market their businesses on Threads? What is that about?
So everybody has right now social media fatigue, but this is, kind of like par of the course. It's like you're going to get tired, you're going to get frustrated. It feels very rote. And so even if that is then the case, we all know that it actually works, that people are spending time on it. So there's this dichotomy of, I know I should be on it, I have a hard time being on it, and I also know it works. And so one of the things that I remember telling Amy early on was when Instagram first launched. Now, I come from the world of visual creatives. I was a photographer for well over 15 years, a professional photographer for well over 15 years. And when Instagram launched, remember, when Instagram launched, Twitter and Facebook existed. And then along came Instagram, this new social app that nobody had ever heard of, and you led with a photo. Now on Twitter, you led with copy, you led with text. And then with Facebook, you led with copy, like a caption, and then occasionally people would upload a link to an article or a photo. That was occasional. Then Instagram came along and they said, "We are photo first. You must post on this platform with a photo." And people were like, "Revolutionary, amazing." And so people started taking photos of their feet on the beach, their breakfast latte. We saw a ton of this. And then all of a sudden, the nomenclature, what people were saying was, please don't post professional photos on this app. Let's leave it real. And that lasted for a very little time until people started uploading professional photos. Why? Because the professional photos got different results. They were different, they got more attention. So, as any good marketer knows, you want to do the thing that is different and that is getting attention. And so, what happens is now when you go to Instagram, it is just fully curated with beautiful and stunning photos and videos. So then Thread comes along, and now people are saying, oh, this is an opportunity for us just to be 100% ourselves. And so what happens is we don't want to sully this experience, because what Amy has seen and what I have seen is people are like, this is really fun. It is a fun place to be. You could share your thoughts. There's not a lot of attachment, and people are really conversating, which is kind of like a lost art form right now on social.
So true. But when I brought that to you, I'm like, wow, so many people are like, no, no marketing on here, no marketing on here. You said, well, yeah, for now. But I loved what you said. You said, good marketers ruin everything.
Oh
And I
my
thought
god, I can't. Oh, are you really throwing me under the bus? Are we
but
really
I
going there right now?
thought it was so funny. I'm like, you're totally right. Because the people that are listening to this podcast, Jasmine, they're marketing their
I
businesses. So
know.
they're going to
I
be
know.
part of the problem. We all
Of
are.
course. Of
Where
course.
and I loved what you said because we were voice texting all about this episode and I was throwing things at you and you said, good marketers ruin everything. We go where there is the most attention. It's happening. I mean, I went on this morning just to take another look and people are already marketing. I already see it. It's absolutely going to happen. So I know you took some screen grabs of like kind of how people were responding with your thread about this episode. And I think you were saying they're sharing kind of how they're feeling about it.
Yeah, so there was a couple things. Like, so one thing I will say is that I have to give a shout out to Malia Vago. She said, "My colleague said Threads is also making me realize that no one actually has problems with content. It's the curation of content to fit the mold and aesthetics that we have held people back. Threads has allowed people's real thoughts and personalities to shine, and I love that for everyone."
Ah, yes. Okay. I saw one. Oh, okay. It says from Kids Anxiety Solutions. That's who wrote this. She said, no rules, no scheduling, no trends, no hashtags. That's what she's saying she's seeing right now. That's all going to change, but that's what she's seeing. She says, I didn't need to do my hair and makeup, and yet I posted 4 times this morning. I'm here for it. Aesthetic thing that has been stripped away that is, you're right, that keeps so many people from, does this look good enough to post?
Mm,
Yeah, I
mm.
love that. What else were you seeing?
Well, I had posted, and this was on, I believe, day one or two. And I said, posting on the new Threads app feels like blank. I'll go first. Feels like the first song during a junior high school dance where you want to bust a move, but you don't think that people are quite ready for the mess you're about to make. And then everybody, like, here's the thing. So then Haya Marianne said, it feels like when you make a new friend and instantly overshare and vomit all of your deepest, darkest secrets. Cozy Universe said, it feels like going to a new school in a new town and your family just moved in. A fresh start, but a little nerve wracking because you have no idea who to initiate a conversation with. And then Sarah Chambers Creative said, it feels like trying to pick a song as you play on a new road trip with a new friend.
Oh, so good. I love all the newness. I think that has been very exciting for many people. So Lisa Benavides says, it's like we all showed up at the beach and it's just chill. We're passing beers and sunblock around, swapping sandwich recipes and beach hacks, just loving life and having no expectations. So when I read that, I was like, that's
Exactly.
so cool. But Jasmine, my heart hurts because there's no way it's going to stay that chill and stay that good. Do you agree?
I agree, but I was listening to this conversation with, I believe his name is Adam Adler, and he was talking about how in Western culture, we believe that if there has been 14 days of rain, there will be a 15th day of rain. That is a Western culture. We believe that things stay the same. But in Eastern cultures, what you see in China and Japan is that they expect things to change when it's been consistent for a while. And
Mm.
so Eastern cultures adapt to change far easier, far more readily, and far quicker than Westerners because we like when things are the same. So when I heard that, it was as if I'm looking at Threads and I said to myself, it's going to change. So why not enjoy the moments for what they are right now? And this is what this podcast is about is can we not celebrate what this is now, knowing it will change in the future, but why not get in while the getting's hot?
Yes, exactly. So, for those of you who are listening, we do want to encourage you to jump on and play and have some fun and experiment. And one thing that I'm seeing came up again and again in my thread where I asked questions about how people are feeling was this idea of reinventing themselves. So, Six Figure Spa Chick said, I love how we can just reinvent ourselves. I am not having the conversations I usually have on Instagram. I'm going a completely different route here. And so I was looking at what she was posting. She does nails, spa, massage, all that kind of stuff. She's giving dating tips, love tips. She's sharing what's happening behind the scenes in her daily life. Very different than what she's actually sharing on Instagram. And I thought that was interesting. And then the date Dr. Christie says, I love that it's allowing us to express different aspects of our personality that may not come through on other platforms where there seems to be more of a formula or an algorithm to hack. I'm showing more of my humor or random thoughts throughout the day and just showing up differently. So, have you seen people talk about that reinvention, showing up different or doing this different than they've done before?
Absolutely. I see the smartest people jumping in a new way. Because if you are so, so, so secure and you love the foundation of the business you built, well, then that showing up as an extension on threads is fascinating and powerful and amazing. And yet, we as business owners have a hard time giving ourselves sometimes the freedom to try new things. Perhaps there is this idea, perhaps there's an angle, perhaps there's an itch that you know things need to change and you're not quite sure how. This is all a perfect opportunity to do that. So, very similar to what you had just shared, Amy. I have a good, very good friend. He's been a photographer for well over 20 years. His photos are amazing. His feed is amazing. Where he travels and what he documents is amazing. It's so Instagrammable. And yet he has felt shackled by the sheer beauty and aesthetic of it. But behind the
Mm.
scenes, he's had this passion. And what he started to do is to consult other creatives on not just building riches, but building wealth. And so what happens is when you're in the creative world, you get like chunks of money at a time. It's not like you get every like 2 weeks you get a paycheck. What happens is in his world specifically in the luxury creative market, you're getting, let's just say hypothetically, $20,000 for a commission. And what happens is that you get rich, you don't build wealth. And so he now consults people on how to get that money and invest it other ways. And so he looked at threads as finally the release for him to be able to speak about an entirely different topic but for a different market. So who he caters to are creative directors and clients, but there's a lot of other photographers and videographers who follow him, and that's what he's using threads for. So same, but different, but allowing him to still maintain his voice, his audience, but in an entirely new way, knowing that that platform serves a slightly different audience.
Okay, so that's exciting. Using
It
something in a
is.
new way and having new conversations that you typically don't have. I think people could absolutely love, like, really embrace that. I have a good friend, April Frank, and she posted, she said, 5 reasons I'm not using threads for business. And she teaches women how to businesses and grow their wealth. And she said, number one, she said, social omnipresence is exhausting. She says, I'm not a machine. I have a team and we can barely keep up with social media right now. And I want a place where I can just talk crap, she said. And I do not only want to be known for what I do, but for who I am. So she just took threads and she's like, this is my opportunity to not always talk about business, but let people know who I am. I thought that was really cool as well.
I love that. I love that.
Right.
I'm clapping that up.
So where do we go from here? Where do we go in terms of Threads is out. Okay, I did want to ask you this. You and I both were on Clubhouse. And I felt the same kind of stress when Clubhouse came out. And I'm like, oh, I got to do this. You were tied to that phone and you had to pay attention in case someone called you up and you had to talk in real time. Total different experience. But so many of us, we went in with Clubhouse and now it's like almost non existent. And so, is there a huge potential for that to be threads? I mean, obviously, we don't have a crystal ball here, but this feels very different than what happened with Clubhouse.
Okay, let's not even say that what it feels like because you know me, Amy. Like, okay, so for people who are listening, Amy and I have been friends for a very long time, and Amy is a high feeler. She's like, it
Yeah.
feels different, and I'm like, I don't give a rip what it feels like. I'm like, let's just look at logic, baby. Let's look at history. Let's look at facts.
Yes,
Which,
talk
so
to me.
in my
This
mind,
is why I brought
it's
you on. We don't need a whole episode how I feel. We need some good stuff. Okay,
are you
so
kidding
tell
me?
me.
Your audience, Amy? No, your audience right now is like, no, Amy, tell us how you feel. Like they love you, bro. They love
Love
Amy.
you
Okay.
all.
What I think is let's play that out. Let's say that Threads has the exact same trajectory as Clubhouse. Let's just say that. Do I think that's the case? No, there's very clear markers early on that it's so different than what it was, but it's neither here nor there. In addition to, but people want to say perhaps no, what is the biggest difference? Besides other things, is that threads sits in perpetuity. That means when you put a thread out, if somebody decides to scroll through all of your threads, they will be able to see them all. The biggest difference with Clubhouse was that it was in real time. You had to listen in
Yes.
real time, or else you wouldn't be able to access it or know what that conversation was. So it was the best thing for the app early on, specifically because we were in the pandemic and people were by their phones. Many people not as out and in the public. Threads is different because it sits in perpetuity. There's ongoing conversations that are asynchronous, which means that you could put out a thread 2 weeks from now and people will be able to comment back on it for years to come, should they so choose. So just looking at that, I'm saying it's different. But even if it wasn't, I would say, Amy, that the tools that Clubhouse gave us, we had to navigate a new platform. We had to learn how to hearken and hone our speaking skills, that when you were automatically called up out of the blue on the stage, your goal was to say something as succinctly, strongly, and palpably as possible. And that all of a sudden you were opened into new networks, new people, and new ways of thinking. In my mind, if that is what I quote unquote wasted my time with in 2020, hot dang, may I waste my time in other things because I'm stronger, I'm better, I learned more, and my network is bigger. So if that's what Threads does in the future, hot dang, sign me up.
Also, what's really cool about Clubhouse that could be cool about Threads, I made friends on Clubhouse that I would have never connected with elsewhere, and I'm still friends with them. And shout out to Jen Gottlieb because I've known her forever, but we've never gotten really close and get to know each other. And we were in so many clubhouses together that we are dear friends now and talk all the time. So you never know what you're going to get from something, even if it didn't stick around. I love that you brought up all the positives of that experience. So,
But
amen to
here's
that.
one thing too. Here's one thing too. Now let's get into the business perspective. So there was this Clubhouse show every morning. It came on at 7 a.m. It was two regular hosts. They did it 5 days a week, and they would just bring people on a stage. And all it was, the entire format was Q&A. They didn't have to prepare. They went for 30 minutes. Now it was during this time that I became a new mom, and I would listen to it at 7 a.m. as I was making my daughter breakfast. I listened to it religiously. It was my radio show, and built so much trust with these speakers that there was an opportunity for me to actually engage. So on Clubhouse, I raised my hand, I asked a question, I was brought on stage, I asked my question, and it opened the doors for me to meet the two co-hosts who I had a lot of respect for. And then on Twitter, I followed up and I said thank you. Now let's flash forward to 2023 at the time of this recording. I hired that very Clubhouse speaker to be my mentor, and she has radically
No
changed my life and my
way.
business. That's how I met Susan.
I knew exactly who you were talking about. Jasmine goes on about a consultant she works for. Her name is Susan.
Do.
And
I
I did
do.
not know you met her on Clubhouse, and she's changed your life.
She has literally changed my life. She has literally changed my business. But what does this mean for the audience? Because no one really cares about me and like my
Right.
Clubhouse history. It's like at the end of the day, was Susan ever pitching? Zero. She simply showed up and spoke about what she knew. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to show up and speak about what you know. You could speak about who you are and what you do and what you love and how you appreciate helping people. And that alone is going to build trust. And trust is the currency on social media. I look at threads as just another way to build trust. Some people will use it as hardcore marketing, which is fine. I love it. I appreciate it. I clap it up. But I think right now we have the opportunity to just put in some money in the trust bank. And that's going to pay dividends over the years.
Okay, that's exactly what I wanted to talk about. Like, how can we use it now? Where is the benefit? Even when we don't know the rules, even when the marketers haven't taken over yet, like, where can we find value? And that trust is exactly it. So, before I let you go, Jasmine, talk to me a little bit about how you've been using Threads. Like what's been your kind of, I don't want to say strategy because I don't think we even have a strategy yet, but talk to me a little bit about it because you're doing great. And obviously everyone needs to go follow Jasmine, which is
At Jasmine Star on Instagram. And I just kind of slurped it right on over to threads.
same. Okay, so how are you using it?
So, one thing I didn't want to do was to put rules on myself because, like a lot of people, I feel very overextended. I do have a presence on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Pinterest. I still have a Twitter account that I wasn't really using all that much. Occasionally I would post. And I thought to myself, what could I do that makes me feel that I am not missing a great opportunity that gives me life and allows me to create trust with the audience? And that was, I said, my goal is to post once a day. Can I post once a day? Are there days that I post more than that? Sure. But my goal is to say a little bit of action every single day is better than standing on the sidelines, not just getting in and at least playing a couple minutes of the game.
Yes. Amen to that. I love that. Okay. Any parting words, my friend?
So I want everybody to get on the same page. And that was rumor has it that there was less than 10 developers creating threads. It now, at the time of this recording, is on its way to 100 million users. It has not even been promoted or released to Meta audiences or WhatsApp audiences. This app is going to be massive. And when more people get on an app, the harder it is for your threads to get discovered. This is the way any social platform works. There was a time when you went to Facebook or Instagram and you had a lot of organic reach. That was because very few people were on the platform. The more people that get on the platform, the harder it is to get your content seen. So if we know that there is hundreds of millions of people who are going to join, and right now we're not there yet, this is your opportunity to go in and create some magic on your own terms. We do know that it is going to look very similar to its competitors. Right now, at the time of this recording, you cannot send direct messages. That's likely going to come. Do I think that hashtags are likely to come? I absolutely think that hashtags are likely to come. Do I think that we are going to see people, much to the chagrin of many people, do I think that on threads we're going to see people repurposing their reels on threads? Much to my chagrin and many others, yes, I do. Do I think that people are going to be putting videos and photos very similar to what they're doing on Instagram and Facebook? Yes, I do. Even knowing all of those things, what I am solely focused on is no pressure. I could lead with a post simply by sharing my thoughts, what I'm doing, and how I help people. And so I think a little bit every day is going to be really cool opportunity to diversify how you're showing up on social and perhaps just maybe build your strategy in real time to actually augment your business and marketing growth.
No expectations, a little bit each day, build your strategy over time. That feels good. I knew you'd be the perfect first person I wanted to talk to about this because Jasmine is a thinker. She's thinking about this stuff nonstop. Poor JD, her husband,
My
because
husband, bless
I
his
can't
heart.
imagine what he has to hear all day long, but I
Okay, well,
love it.
speaking of husbands, poor Hobie, because he has to feel you feel all day.
It's true. It's so true. Okay, before I let you go, because I haven't gotten to have you on the show in a while, I haven't gotten to talk to you. You have a brand new website that looks amazing, jasminestar.com, right? Did I get the URL right?
Yes,
Okay, good. I was like, just want to make sure.
You did,
It's
Ames.
gorgeous. Jasmine's kind of reinvented herself over there. So I want everyone to go check out her new website and her beautiful new photos. It's just really cool to see and how it navigates and all of that. But what are you up to? What are you excited about?
Well, here's the thing. I love that you're such a good podcast host and you are giving me the opportunity to to talk about stuff that we've been talking about for the past few weeks. Like, listen, has anybody ever had a moment in business where you're like clawing your way to this finish line? And it's like you envision when you start these projects, you envision you're like, I'm gonna cross that finish line like Jackie Joyner Kersee in the Olympics. I'm gonna raise my fist. I'm gonna take the American flag and run it around this track. And then what in your reality is like, oh, I thought I was gonna do a sprint and it's actually a hurdle race, and I fell over every single hurdle, and I'm just crying like crawling over the line with
Yes.
bloody knees, and I'm like, I made it. I think I made it. So that's your girl right now, and I just really want to be honest. It's like people are going to go to jasminestar.com. They're going to be like, wow, this looks good. At least that's what I hope. It's pretty. It's
Yeah.
like my perspective. Okay, that's what I hope. But like behind the scenes, getting to that point, in addition to launching my personal brand website, jasminestar.com, we also launched an upgraded platform for Social Curator. And then
Yeah.
in addition to that, I took on a project when I was a mentor for like Inc. magazine, and there was like this contest that was like an 8-week contest. And then at the same time, we were launching a new division of something else that we were working on. And so there was like this, it was like the perfect storm of, oh my God, everything that could go wrong has probably gone wrong. And we're on a deadline. Yay. At this point in time, let's have real conversations about business, right? It's like on the outside, things look glimmery and shiny. But on this podcast, what I know to be true is that you always share the real. And so thank you for the shout out. You're being a great friend. But at the same time, I don't want it to be glimmer glamor. I want us to say, like, it's you and me and millions of people who listen to this podcast. It's like we're clawing towards the finish line. And I just really like doing it with people like you.
I love doing it with people like you. It's my most favorite thing when I get a voice text from Jasmine, it's like 10 minutes long. I feel like it's the Real Housewives of New York, and I get to sit down and take it all in. It's like the greatest. So find yourself a business bestie that will good, bad, and ugly because it makes life a whole lot better.
It
Jasmine, I
does.
love you to the moon and
I
back.
love you
Thank
more.
you for jumping on here when we don't even know what we're talking about, but we just wanted to share our feelings and some insights as well. So thanks for being here.
I love you.
Bye, friend. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this behind the scenes conversation with me and Jasmine. It's always fun to talk to one of your peers who has a different perspective or different look at things and just kind of compare notes. And that's essentially what this episode was. I can promise you that I'm going to have some other experts on down the road. And I bet in a year from now, there will be Threads experts that have a lot of great marketing tips to share. And I think that's where we'll probably be with this in a year, but not yet. It's not time for that yet. And so I thought this would be really fun to document the first few weeks of a new app and then kind of come back and see how we're feeling a little bit later. So if you want more episodes like this, you just let me know. Send me a DM. I would love to hear from you. I'm just at Amy Porterfield on Instagram, which is, of course, the same as what I am on Threads. But because we can't DM on Threads, come on over to Instagram, send me a DM. Tell me what you're loving about Threads or not loving. Tell me how you're feeling, the good, bad, and ugly. I just want to hear all about it.